Chapter 1. The Marriage Trap. The world saw Ares Kale as untouchable, an alpha born to rule, cloaked in tailored suits and cold authority. His empire stretched across industries, his name enough to silence a boardroom. But none of that power ever satisfied him. Not when Eli Varel still existed in the same city. Ares had been watching Eli for years, quietly, obsessively. It started in university when Eli beat him in a mock trial. That smile, sharp and smug, those amber eyes that burned like golden sunlight. Since then, Ares collected information, photos, audio clips, his digital shrine built in encrypted silence. But this time, he wanted more than stolen glances and grainy surveillance footage. He wanted Eli. So he made it happen. A few favors here, a bribe there, a whispered promise to a greedy relative in the Varel family. A political alliance was born, an arranged marriage that would benefit both empires. On paper, it was a power move. In truth, Ares had crafted it to the last detail, making sure Eli had no way out. But what Ares didn't know was that Eli Varel had been quietly pulling the strings too. Eli had dreamed of this, fantasized, obsessively tracked Ares' every move, every scandal, every purchase. He'd hacked into Ares' security system just to watch him sleep, lips curled faintly in exhaustion. Eli loved him, no, worshipped him. But he knew Ares was too proud, too careful. So Eli pretended to resist the idea of marriage, just enough to make it believable, and then secretly ensured it went through. Two predators circling each other. At the engagement party, they met at the center of the ballroom. Glittering chandeliers hung above their heads as champagne flowed, and socialites whispered behind gloved fingers. Ares extended his hand. Eli. Eli took it, his grip firm, his smile razor-sharp. Ares. Their eyes locked. Outsiders saw cold civility, tension, but beneath it, obsession and madness. He's finally mine, Ares thought. He actually wants me. Eli nearly trembled. They toasted to a future built on lies. Each thought the other was the prey. That night, in opposite wings of Ares' mansion, they lay awake in separate beds. Eli had already installed a hidden camera weeks ago. Ares had hacked into Eli's apartment weeks before the contract was even drafted. They stared at glowing laptop screens, watching the other breathe, watching as their chests rose and fell, whispering fantasies into the dark. Soon, Ares murmured to the screen, brushing a thumb over Eli's frozen image. You won't leave my side. Tomorrow, Eli whispered to his own screen, biting his lip. I'll finally be yours. The wedding came fast. White roses, blood-red wine, oaths sealed with a kiss that burned colder than it looked. The press snapped photos. The world gasped at the union of two alpha empires. But behind closed doors, each of them believed the other was suffering. Each of them was, in truth, more thrilled than they had ever been in their lives. Chapter 2. In the Lion's Den. The marble gates of Ares Kale's estate shut behind them with a quiet finality. The media roared outside, but inside the mansion, silence loomed like a coiled serpent, beautiful and dangerous. The newlyweds entered the house as strangers, enemies, lovers, obsessions cloaked in indifference. Their marriage was official, but nothing felt real. They lived on opposite ends of the same floor, two separate bedrooms, two separate routines. But that didn't stop either of them from violating every unspoken boundary. Eli set his luggage down neatly in the suite Ares had prepared for him, and the first thing he did? Sniffed Ares' used shirt. That same night, Ares sat in his office watching Eli unpack through hidden cameras. When Eli paused to touch the photo frame on the nightstand, a picture of Ares from a press conference, Ares smirked and zoomed in. Caught you, he whispered. The day passed like a chess game, each move calculated, each word laced with double meanings. During breakfast, they sat across from each other in pristine silence, the clinking of silverware the only sound. Ares sipped his coffee, cool and composed. Don't fall in love with me, Eli. Eli didn't flinch. He offered a soft, almost mocking smile. Wouldn't dream of it. That same night, he curled up on Ari's bed when no one was looking, inhaling the scent of his pillow with a shaky sigh. "You're already mine." Aries had installed a full suite of surveillance after their wedding. Biometric scanners, motion sensors, facial recognition, and microphones in every room Eli might touch. He watched religiously. Meanwhile, Eli hacked into Ari's encrypted server and broke into his private study. Hidden behind a bookshelf, he found Ari's leather-bound journals. Handwritten notes, raw thoughts, entries like, "March 2nd saw Eli at the gala. He smiled at someone else. Wanted to break that bastard's arm. April 9th. Still thinking about how his voice sounds when he's angry. Wonder if he moans the same." Eli read every word, twice, and left the book slightly askew just to see if Aries would notice. He did. Then came the call. A harmless call from an old college friend that made Eli laugh, just once. A soft, real laugh. Aries heard it from the hallway, and something dark twisted inside him. By midnight, the number was blocked, permanently. "Don't talk to him again," Aries said coldly the next morning. Eli didn't argue. He simply smiled, walked into Ari's office when no one was around, and deleted a flirtatious message from Ari's secretary. Then called the secretary up, lips curling. "You're fired. Don't ever touch what's mine." And then came the night. It started with an argument. Of course it did. Something stupid. Something petty. A half-jealous remark about a dinner Aries attended alone. A glare. A bite of sarcasm. The next second, Aries slammed Eli against the wall. "You want to fight?" Eli grabbed him by the collar, yanked him forward. "I want you to stop pretending you don't want me." The kiss was brutal. Their teeth clashed, lips split, hands tangled into hair, yanked jackets off. Every second was domination, resistance, surrender, fire. In the bedroom, it only escalated. Aries growled as he shoved Eli onto the bed. "You think you can handle me?" Eli arched beneath him, defiant. "Try me." Clothes ripped, skin bruised, bruises bloomed like purple flowers. Heat exploded between them. When Aries finally sank into him, Eli gasped. The consummation finally happens. The knotting came hard and fast, Aries losing control for the first time in his life. Eli refused to look away, even as his nails dug bloody half-moons into Aries' shoulders. They didn't speak. They didn't stop. And when it was over, they lay in silence, panting, sweaty, marked. Aries watched the ceiling. Eli stared at Aries' hand resting beside his own. Neither reached out. Neither said a word. But that night, they both couldn't sleep. Aries replayed Eli's moans in his head like a prayer. Eli traced every mark on his body in the dark, wishing for more. They were trapped, addicted, willingly doomed, and neither had any plans to escape. Chapter 3. Obsession Unveiled. The air in Aries' mansion had changed. It wasn't just the tension, it was awareness now. After their first night together, they moved through the estate like strangers with shared blood. Polite, civil, restrained, until their eyes met. Then it felt like fire beneath their skin. But beneath their daily facade, cracks had begun to form. Dangerous ones. Aries noticed first. A camera in his office had glitched, just once, for exactly 3 seconds. Just enough time for someone to remove something and put it back. He knew exactly what had been touched. He stormed into his office and yanked open the hidden drawer. His journal lay there. But the ribbon marker had moved. The pages were smudged. One was folded slightly at the corner. And on top of it, a single strand of golden hair. Eli's. His hands curled into fists. "So, you've been watching me too, huh?" And for the first time in years, Aries smiled. Eli's discovery came the next morning. He was casually exploring the east wing, just to stretch his legs, he told the staff. A random door was left slightly ajar. Inside, darkness, monitors, rows of hard drives humming quietly. Ari's surveillance room. The screens showed every part of the mansion. Most were off. But one was on loop. His room. The image showed Eli sleeping last night, tangled in silk sheets, his hand curled over Aries' pillow. Another screen flickered to life. Eli in the shower, private, vulnerable, watched. A USB stick on the desk was labeled EV Laugh Compilation. He stood still for a long moment staring at it. And then, he blushed. And then, he grinned. So he does love me. Later that evening, they ran into each other in the hall. Neither said a word at first. Just silence. Tension. Eli leaned against the wall, arms crossed, lips curled. Find anything interesting today? Aries stepped closer, so close their chests brushed. I did. Seems someone's been reading my thoughts. Eli licked his bottom lip, intentionally slow. Only the ones you left out in the open. Aries growled low, his hand slamming beside Eli's head. You're mine, Eli. Eli tilted his chin up. You've always been mine. For a moment, it felt like they might kiss again, or kill each other, or both. That night, Aries opened a hidden drawer in his wardrobe. Inside, a velvet box containing a vial of Eli's cologne, a broken cufflink from his college days, a screenshot of a blurry security photo from 5 years ago when Eli had accidentally smiled at Aries in passing. He held the photo like it was a relic. Across the hall, Eli added a new file to his secret hard drive. Aries Kale smiling rare footage. He played the short clip on loop for an hour before falling asleep. A silly, dopey smile on his lips. They were insane. And so in love. They just hadn't said it out loud yet. Chapter 4. Our Secret, Our Beginning. The morning sun filtered through the silk curtains, casting a golden glow on the marble floors of Ari's estate. It had been 1 month since their first night together. 1 month of shared beds, hidden smiles, and silent, overwhelming confessions left unsaid. But today, something had changed. Eli groaned, stumbling out of the bathroom pale and sweaty, clutching his stomach. I swear to the gods, if this is food poisoning from your midnight steak. It was imported Wagyu, Aries said, brows furrowed with concern. You love it. Eli blinked at him. Exactly. And now I can't even look at steak without gagging. Aries tilted his head. You threw up yesterday too. And the day before, Eli muttered. A moment of silence passed between them. Their eyes met. Aries moved first, already pulling out his phone. I'm calling the doctor. When the family doctor arrived, Eli was sulking on the velvet couch, a throw pillow pressed against his stomach like a shield. I feel like a bloated balloon. The doctor chuckled kindly, running tests and muttering to himself before finally pausing, eyes widening. Well, congratulations. Eli froze. For what? You're pregnant, Mr. Viral. Roughly 5 weeks. The world stilled. Eli's lips parted. Aries stood frozen at first, then broke into a stunned laugh, and then tears. He crossed the room, dropping to his knees in front of Eli and gently cupping his face. We're having a baby, Aries whispered, voice trembling. Eli blinked. This is too soon. We haven't even sorted out how to say I love you properly. What if I mess up? What if I can't? Aries pressed his forehead to Eli's. Whatever you choose, I'll support you, I swear. Whether you want this or not, I'll be beside you. That broke something in Eli. He started crying, hugging Aries like he was the only thing keeping him grounded. I want it, he whispered. I want you. I want everything. The truth finally came that night. They sat on the bed in matching robes, Eli brushing through old photos on his hidden hard drive, Aries thumbing through old journal entries about Eli's smile. I hacked your security system in law school, Eli said with a little smile, just to watch you study. I made sure the secretary flirted with me, Aries replied, smirking. So you'd get jealous. You did that on purpose? I loved watching you sulk. They laughed, tangled up in sheets and confessions, not ashamed anymore. The walls between them had crumbled. They were both monsters in love. And they wouldn't have it any other way. As the months passed, their life found rhythm. Eli continued working, sharp and graceful in the courtroom, now with a soft bump beneath his suit. Aries shadowed him everywhere, scaring off reporters, assistants, and even a few over-friendly judges. You can't growl at a federal judge, Aries. He touched your back. He brushed past me. He dies at dawn. Eli's emotions were chaotic, crying at insurance ads, screaming at toothpaste flavor, and cuddling Aries one second and swatting him the next. But Aries loved it. He'd hold Eli every night, hands spread over his belly, whispering promises of safety. "Both of you," he murmured, "are my entire world." The day their child arrived, the world paused. It was chaos, screaming, threats, pain, and Eli nearly broke Ari's hand. But then a cry, small, soft, fierce. A baby boy, wrapped in white, placed gently in Eli's arms. Aries stood at the edge of the bed, tears streaming silently as he looked down at them, his two greatest obsessions, finally real. Eli smiled up at him, exhausted but radiant. "Welcome to our chaos, little one." And in the nights that followed, laughter returned to their mansion. Late-night feedings turned into cuddle sessions. Eli worked from home. Aries paced nervously with a baby carrier strapped to his chest. They took turns being the dramatic parent, and when their son smiled for the first time, they both cried. Because in the end, they weren't just two obsessive alphas anymore. They were a family, madly in love, and never letting go. Log, always yours. 5 years later. The grand estate was no longer silent. It echoed with the sound of laughter, footsteps running down endless hallways, and two very overprotective alphas arguing over who got to carry the backpacks for preschool. "Aries, he's going to school, not a battlefield," Eli scolded, hands on his hips, watching their 5-year-old son Leon tug at his tiny blue cap. "He's too small," Aries growled. "Maybe we should homeschool him. Or better yet, buy the whole school and fire any teacher who—" Eli rolled his eyes fondly. "You did buy the school last month. For safety purposes. And built a special bulletproof playground." "For extra safety," Aries insisted, scooping Leon into his arms. Leon giggled, wrapping his tiny arms around Aries' neck, his little alpha scent filling the air. Eli's heart melted. Once upon a time, he'd only dreamed of having this. Now he lived it every day. As they stood in the driveway, their driver waiting patiently with the armored car, Aries suddenly froze. "Wait," he muttered, pulling a tiny tracking chip from his pocket. "We forgot to implant the new GPS." Eli smacked his chest. "He's not a hostage. He's our son." Leon blinked up innocently. "Can I have a puppy?" Both fathers turned to him. Aries looking ready to buy 100 puppies, and Eli groaning because he knew he was outnumbered already. "We'll talk after school," Eli compromised, ruffling Leon's soft brown hair. Aries leaned down and pressed a kiss to Eli's lips, soft, claiming, lingering longer than necessary. "I love you," Aries whispered. "I love you too," Eli said, smiling so wide it hurt. "And I'm still stalking you," Aries added with a mischievous wink. Eli smirked. "Good, because I still hack your emails." They grinned like criminals in love. Because they were. Obsessed. Possessive. Perfect. And as Leon waved goodbye from the back seat, Eli leaned against Aries' chest, hand instinctively sliding over his own stomach where a second heartbeat was just beginning to form. Aries froze. Eli smiled slyly. "You're going to be a daddy again, Mr. Overprotective." The world tilted. Aries picked him up instantly, spinning him around as Eli laughed breathlessly. Their story, chaotic, messy, obsessive, beautiful, was only just beginning again. And neither of them would ever let go. Not now. Not ever.